So a lot has been said about Juan Ayuso's interesting move to Little Trek. I don't think it's the right team for him with Milan and Pedersen and Stillwasser, but there we go. Deal's done now for 5 years. So let's see if Little Trek can maximise his obvious incredible potential and deliver him to that ability to not only rival Pogačar but also beat Pogačar in the Grand Tours. The obvious things that he needs to do are improve his training, improve his nutrition, improve his doctor. But I have a theory as to something that could be holding him back, and it's the easiest fix that for me Little Trek might be able to make, and it is to do with his bike position. So I'm going to hand over to Outdoor James to explain what Indoor James is currently thinking. Thank you, Indoor James. I am Outdoor James, and this is the bike position change that I think Juan Ayuso can make to increase his stability on the bike, but also be able to put out that power when needed and following Tadej Pogačar and anyone really. We saw at the World Championships on Mur de Kigali that he couldn't put that forward momentum going forward. We saw at the European Championships, one following Pogačar, two following Renko on the climbs, and it's to do with his handlebar width. This is 38 centimeters centre to centre on these fast sport bars. I think Juan Ayuso is probably running at least 36, and then he also has his hoods tilted in probably to about here as well, which is great for aero benefits, and it's great for twitchiness, so moving through the bunch. However, it's not very easy to control, particularly I think when out of the saddle and inside the saddle, in the saddle, producing that forward power and momentum going forward. So let's break it down to inside the saddle first. I keep saying that. In the saddle first. If your bars are too narrow on the centre to centre, you've got really good ability, as I said, to manoeuvre through the group. But in the saddle, following attacks, you've not got that grip to really grip onto to be able to move that bike forward. And it's even more important out of the saddle with that sway. You know, the wider the bar, the more control you have when out of the saddle. It's why mountain bikes run wide and why gravel bikes run wider handlebars than road bikes. What it can do is, for me, if I put my leg over, it makes him really sort of like this, rather than swaying from side to side, like you see someone like Pidcock or Pogačar when they're out of the saddle. He's really keeping that body tense and upper body, and he's like this as he goes. Okay, so I think the simplest thing Juan Ayuso can do, yeah, you've got the training, yes, you've got the nutrition, the doctors, and whatever. Put a set of 38 centimeter centre to centre handlebars on. Maybe not tilt your hood slightly inwards. I mean, the UCI have changed that a little bit anyway for next year, so you might have to. But 38 centre to centre, not as inward tilt. I think that might be something that might be able to help him produce that power in the sprint out of the saddle, attacking or following a rider like Pogačar, but also in the saddle, instead of rocking forward and back, he might be able to sway it a little bit in the attack as well. It's a long shot, and it ain't going to solve the whole Juan Ayuso story. You know, everything else is, the training and everything is probably more important. But a simple bike fit, if I was Little Trek, I'll test it out. On a climb in Mallorca or wherever Little go, stick a set of 36s on, his normal setup, inward tilt or whatever, see how stable he is and also the power. Then stick a set of 38s, inward tilt as much as able to, see how it goes and see which is the best and most comfortable. For me, Ayuso is probably the biggest one that has the aero gains but not that comfort and stability on the bike. And that is what he needs to change, among many other things, in order to potentially compete with the man, the myth, the legend that is Tadej Pogačar. Cheers for watching. It's a bit of an odd video for me to do, but I thought it's an interesting point that I noticed from the World Championships and the Europeans. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments as to whether you think Ayuso's bike position works for him, whether you think it doesn't, and I'll see you next time on James Talks Cycling. Adios.